I'm Ryan from ExtremeTerrain.com, and in this video I'm going to give you my top picks for a rear bumper fitting your 1997 to 2006 TJ. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, that way you can check out some detailed videos on all of these products as well as all the other bumpers that we offer, because again, these are just my picks and there are a ton of options out there. So you're really going to want to install a new rear bumper on your Jeep for one of two reasons. Either you're looking for a bumper that is going to just look a little different from your factory one, or you want some different functionality, and that can mean either off-road functionality, a tire carrier, additional protection. That can mean a lot of different things. So we are going to talk about bumpers that fall into both of those categories today. We're going to talk about the Rugged Ridge tubular rear bumper without a hitch. That's going to be a little bit more of a basic aesthetic bumper. We're also going to talk about the Barricade Classic rear bumper with the tire carrier. That one's going to add some functionality. And finally, a high-end Poison Spider Rock Brawler rear bumper with the tire carrier. So again, a couple of different choices that we're going to go through. Now, even though these bumpers provide a different look, different protection, different functionality, they're all going to install pretty similarly onto your Jeep. They're all going to be more or less a bolt-on application. However, some of them require you to drill a couple of additional holes just for a little bit more support, but we'll talk about that in just a second. So let's get into it. This first bumper is the Rugged Ridge tubular rear bumper without a hitch, and this is going to be the most basic bumper that we're going to talk about today. It doesn't add a ton of function. It's going to be more of an aesthetic change than anything else. If that's what you're looking for, this is going to be a great choice. Now, this is going to fit both YJs and TJs. We're talking about TJs today, so this is going to be a little bit more of that old school look, being a 3-inch round tubular bumper. Again, if that's what you're after, this is a great choice. As far as tubular bumpers go, I think this is a very well built one. This does have welded metal end caps on it, which some of the other ones just have little plastic inserts. I prefer this. This also doesn't completely wrap around to the side of the tub, but just has a little bit of an angle where it returns back into the tub, which again is something that I really like. But these are all just aesthetic things, whether you like this bumper or one of the other options from Rugged Ridge, because they do offer quite a few different ones. This is still going to be a high quality of build for you, and it's going to do what you're looking for it to do. Now, this does have a cutout in the middle here. That is the one piece of function that is added onto this bumper that allows you to run a factory spare tire, or even a spare tire that's a little bit bigger than factory, on that factory mount without interfering with the bumper. But like I said, overall, this is an aesthetic mod. If this is the look you're going for, I think this is a high quality choice. My next pick is the Barricade Classic rear bumper with the tire carrier. So this is obviously going to add a ton more function than that Rugged Ridge option that we talked about, and is also going to be significantly more expensive than that option, but you would expect to pay more when you're getting so much more. So this is going to give you, of course, the rear bumper. This is going to be a bumper that pretty much gives you end-to-end protection. It's nice and thick. It's got this high-quality powder coat finish on it. So it is going to be an aesthetic mod like the Rugged Ridge bumper, but also is going to add even more protection and a bunch of other functions as well. This has a 2-inch receiver in the center. That's going to be good for recoveries. Also has two completely welded through shackle mounts. So these are going to be for your D-rings, giving you additional recovery points. And this even does come with the D-rings already installed on the bumper when it comes out of the box, which is a really nice feature. Again, it's not going to be a make or break whether you buy this bumper or another one. It's just one less thing you have to remember to purchase. And of course, this does have the tire carrier option. So you see the spindle here and this area here for the latch. This is the actual tire carrier. It is very, very simple, but it's going to get the job done. There are a few reasons that you'll want to run a tire carrier on your Jeep that isn't the factory one. One, that factory tire carrier is really only designed for the weight of a factory spare. So when you have a big heavy one on there, you can actually cause that tire carrier to fatigue and eventually break. Also, the tailgate itself and the tailgate hinges are only designed for a certain amount of weight, so those can end up wearing out. And finally, if you have a big 35-inch tire on your TJ, you're simply not going to be able to fit it size-wise without the tire making contact with the bumper when you close the tailgate. So again, a bunch of reasons to get a bumper with a tire carrier, and this bumper is going to have one. So this tire carrier here, again, very, very simple, but getting the job done. Here's the mount. You can see that it only has one set of holes for getting that mount on the tire carrier. So you're not going to have any up-down adjustability. Some of the more expensive options out there will give you that adjustability. You'll be able to mount the tire as low as possible, giving you more viewing out the back window. This is not going to have that, but again, still going to work great, just a little bit more of a simple design. Now, what this does have as far as adjustability goes, which is very, very important, is in and out adjustability. So depending on the width of the tire, the width of the wheel, and the back spacing of your wheel, you are going to need that in-out adjustability so that you can get your spare tire nice and tight up against this carrier. You don't want any space in between there because every time you hit a bump on-road or off-road, that big heavy tire is going to be moving and torquing around, which can flex and fatigue the steel. So you have that adjustability. That's very, very important. That's one of my favorite features that's built into this bumper. So overall, if you're looking for a tire carrier bumper that has a lot of features, has some pretty nice style, and is going to save you some money over some of the other options out there, I think this bumper is a home run. My third pick is the Poison Spider Rock Brawler rear bumper with tire carrier, and this is going to be the most expensive option we're going to talk about today, but I do think you're getting a lot for your money here. The quality here is really outstanding. So the first thing you're going to notice about this bumper is that this comes uncoated. You can get this coated, but this one is going to come uncoated. It's going to save you a little bit of money, and if you're somebody who really wants to customize the bumper, maybe color match it or do an accent color, having it uncoated is going to be a plus for you. Now, the benefit to it coming without any powder coat on it is you can see how well this thing is built. The welds, the gusseting, everything about this is really, really top notch. You can tell that this is incredibly high quality, very, very strong, and is going to last a very long time. From an aesthetic standpoint, I think it looks good. The bumper itself is fairly minimalist, but it is going to offer some great protection, and it sort of shares the same lines as a lot of the other bumpers that you'll find on the market. But from a function standpoint, this thing really stands out. So you have a 2-inch receiver in the center here that's going to be a recovery point. You have a couple of shackle mounts that are welded completely through, giving you a couple more really strong recovery points. But where this thing really shines is in the tire carrier. Here you can see the spindle, and that's fairly basic, but the part that actually goes on the spindle, there is a series of bearings that you will pack and install to ensure that this thing will move very easily, open and close, even with a big heavy spare on it, for a very long time. Some of the less expensive options out there, they might not even be greasable, they don't have the bearings in them, they're just a slip fit over the spindle, and you can get some rust or some debris in there, which will require you to take everything apart, clean it out, and grease it on a fairly regular basis. This is just gonna last fairly maintenance-free, just a little bit of greasing, for a really, really long time. On the latch mechanism, you also see where this bumper stands out, what makes this really different from a lot of the other options out there, and also what makes this a little bit more expensive. This setup is basically like a car door. So when you close this, you get a really solid fit. You have a couple of pieces of very dense plastic or rubber material that are actually tapered, so when everything closes, it's held very tightly. It's not going to rattle, it's not going to make any noise, and it's not going to wear out for you, but it's also going to be able to operate very easily. One-hand operation, you can unlatch this, and again, because it swings so easily with the bearings, it'll close very easily as well. Moving on to the actual mount for the spare tire, we talked about how the Barricade one doesn't offer any up-down adjustability. Well, this one does. As you can see, there are a ton of different holes here. You can mount that tire nice and low so that it just barely clears the bumper, giving you maximum vision out the back window. This also is going to have in-out adjustability. That allows you to keep the tire nice and tight up against the carrier. Again, so it's not torquing around, flexing, and working on that metal, eventually causing some fatigue and some braking. This also has a latch to keep the tire carrier open. So if you're in an off-road situation, you need to access some tools, maybe it's lunchtime, you want to open your tire carrier, you swing it open, it automatically latches open. It's not going to either fall one way and smack into the side of your Jeep, or fall the other way and smush you between the back of your Jeep and the tire carrier. So that's also a very, very nice feature. Automatically locks, you just pull up on it to unlock it. So this has a ton of features, a ton of quality, is very, very well built, and is one of the highest quality bumpers that you're going to find, but it is also going to be more expensive than the other options we talked about. So if you have the budget and you're looking for the best of the best, I think this is going to be your nice choice. So those are my top picks for rear bumpers fitting your 97 to 06 TJ. We talked about the Rugged Ridge tubular rear bumper, that Barricade Classic rear bumper, and finally that high-end Poison Spider Rock Brawler bumper. Again, these are just my picks. Make sure you comment below, let me know what you think about my choices, what bumper you're currently running on your Jeep, or what's on your wish list. And make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you can check out other compare videos like this one and some of the best Jeep content out there.